Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
And away we go. Welcome to show number 2,858. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, Woman Fox, and my cock.
Montgomery!
And you are in the men's room. On tap today, the random question is back. Your guess is as good as mine. Categories death and baseball. Speaking of, 10 things your body can do after you die on what you don't need to know. Get ready to play Profile This. Plus headlines, the men's room shot of the day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted.
Clack.
Drinking to drunk. All right, here we go as we go to Florida, where man and child dangle high above gators on a zip line at Gatorland. Meanwhile, Fairbanks man suspect friend has meth hidden, so he checks under his scrotum with his hand. Wisconsin woman has cocaine, meth, marijuana, X, and spice all up inside her. A man says it was muggers with a coffee cup that made his butt wider. And Miami cops have to give back the 20 grand they tried to steal from a stripper. Believe it or not, all that money was covered in glitter. And that is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, Miles, you brought this up. Gatorland. It's a real place. It's located in Orlando, Florida. Offers you the chance not only to hang out with alligators, but they have tortoises, snakes, birds, wildcats, and all kinds of things that want to kill you. But one of the main attractions, it's a zip line over the gator pool. So this past Saturday, a father and son, of course, got stuck on the zip line, dangled 40 feet above the gators for about half an hour. But in the end, they made it across. By the way, the park operator says, oh, that's not unusual. Happens all the time. I'm not kidding. He says that happens all the time. But speaking of zip lines, a husband and wife, believe it or not, they went zip lining. The wife got stuck. The husband did not get stuck. But that's why he smashed into her. He suffered multiple injuries before later dying. It should be noted they were on their honeymoon. This was a last-minute decision as they stepped off of a cruise. So I guess ziplining, a potential threat to a human being's well-being. You know what else is a threat to the well-being of humans? Plastic bags. Now, this is not me saying this. It's Al-Shabaab. That's an Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist organization in Somalia. They made the declaration that they no longer use plastic bags, and I'm not kidding you. They say because they're a detriment to the well-being of people. Al-Shabaab killed 300 people in a truck bomb this past October and is responsible for thousands of deaths. But
save the ocean.
They will not use plastic bags, damn it.
Good for them.
Yeah. So these are the kinds of things that we read. It leads us to many questions we'd like to ask you in the form of the random question. This is how it works. You call us, we'll ask you a question at complete random. And after you share your answer, we'll share with you the story that inspired said question.
Be part of the big show and the random question. Call 844-999-OLA. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send emails to the Men's Room at mensroomlive.com. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Oh, the Charles, and away we go. Welcome to show number 2,858. What a large and charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. The return of your guess is as good as mine. Categories today are dealing with death, always a good time, and baseball, both good and bad. Some of the best cities in the United States for baseball. some of the worst cities. Well, I guess you got to include Toronto in there in North America for watching baseball. So that is one of the categories. The other one is death. And by death, we mean the top 10 ways to die. Oh, did I say baseball? I meant basketball. The top 10 ways to die.
Still include Toronto.
Shut up. That you will more than likely end up basically the way you're going to go down. So the top 10 ways that you die.
Okay.
And then, of course, the top best and worst basketball. Basketball cities for fans out there. That's coming up with your guess is as good as mine. Man, oh, man, I don't know who wrote that down, but they wrote it down wrong. Speaking of death, coming up on what you don't need to know, 10 strange things your body can do after you die. Now, you might think it's very Hollywood to see a dead body sit up, cross its arms, and fall back down like a mummy. That can actually happen when you die.
See, that's not okay, man.
There's all kinds of things that can happen when you die.
Because, like, we were talking about the rattlesnakes a couple of weeks ago. Two separate stories. Guys chopped the head. Well, one guy shot with a shotgun the head off of the rattlesnake to the point that, as far as where its head had been connected to the rest of it, it was, I mean, it was grated, all right? I mean, it was blown apart, but the body still aimed where the head would have been at the guy. Like, it still knew instinctively. Another guy chopped a head off of a rattlesnake, checked on it a full 1 hour later, and the damn thing bit him. So you're telling me human beings are also really, really weird?
You get in the world of the guillotine, all right?
Okay. Who hasn't been to Guillotine World?
You get your head cut
One of the
off.
most popular amusement parks on earth, by the way. Guillotine World.
I think nowadays you got to mention you're talking about a real guillotine.
Guillotine.
Not just a good hold.
This one taken right up. How many seconds can you still see?
I've heard like 3, maybe, something like that.
4 to 5.
4 to 5?
4 to 5. That's why sometimes there's
That's
a
a
grimace,
guess,
there's a
though.
look.
Yeah, how do you confirm that?
Right, has anybody ever...
still seeing.
Honestly, they did it through an experiment with animals to determine, and they put on probes and all that stuff.
What animals?
Well, this is what they determined. As far as your eyesight is concerned, mice. As far as eyesight is concerned, it's directly linked to the brain.
Yeah.
And there's very little in the way. So your heart can stop, but you still can see and think. And
cool. That's what I want.
You still can take an image in and understand what it is. So even if you don't have blood necessarily flowing to the brain initially, you still have 4 or 5 seconds of your mind identifying, I'm on the ground, my head's off, that's my body over there. You still have 4 or 5 seconds to determine.
But what did you see with the guillotine? Because the way I have it in my head, and I might be dead wrong, right? And I'm basing this solely on Bugs Bunny cartoons. But you are, so you're facing the crowd, right? You would be like on your hands and knees, but you're facing the crowd. They lock your hands in your head.
Typically, they put
in
a
the
bag
thing.
over your head, though.
They put a bag over your head, or no? The executioner had the bag on their head, all right? And then the thing drops and it cuts your head off. Okay. Now, if I remember this right, your head like drops into a basket or a bucket. So really, the only thing you'd see is the bottom of a bucket.
Okay. All right. Either way,
I mean, it still
all
wouldn't be
kinds of,
awesome.
weird things your body is.
It happened to me once in a dream. Does that count?
Oh, you
what
got
happened?
guillotined in a dream?
No, somebody lopped off my head with a battle axe.
No
Okay.
way. Were you
Yeah.
fighting? What kind of battle were you in?
I wasn't. I was in an old school army Jeep with the front window down.
Oh.
And I was running up. I don't know who was chasing me, but I stopped in an intersection. Dude ran over, head off, and then I could see my body splurting blood.
Oh, no.
Damn, man.
Yeah, it was intense.
That's really was that intense?
So, I mean, it's got to be real. It happened in my dream.
But here's the best thing
Rule
about
number
it.
one: if someone's chasing you, why'd you stop at an intersection?
But when
There
you
was a
woke,
stop sign.
but when you woke up, you know,
I'm going to break the law, fella.
when you woke up, you realized that didn't really happen in real life. So that's always the better part. You know, the dreams where you go like,
Yeah, but
hey,
you still go like, I didn't need
do you
to do
know
that
you
at all.
cheated on me last night in my dream? It's a dream. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't real.
I'm still mad at you.
Like when you got your head cut off and watched yourself run around with the blood skirting out. It's the same thing.
You actually saw the blood spurting out.
Yeah, honestly, I never knew this till Miles just said it, but
Yeah.
it was basically that. Like the
Like you can
dude lopped
see-
off my head. I was on the ground, and I could see like my body
What did
slumped
you
forward
do
on
that
the
he
wheel.
wanted to chop off?
Think about when the
He
GoPro
was so
pissed.
on the wheel.
It's like when the GoPro falls off the helmet and it's on the ground.
Right,
You
right.
see
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
sideways view of, you know, what the snowboarder was, you know, almost dead. So that's coming up with what you don't need to know. And, of course, another round of Profile This. And we will drink and toast with the shot of the day. And today is the day we do our random question 844-999. Oh,
Random.
Okay, comment came in and it says, "Hey bitches, I once saw a cartel beheading video where they chopped this lady's head off, but as they're holding the head up, you could clearly see her eyes turning to look at her body."
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's time when your eyes are still reacting, and that's, yes.
Now someone's comparing it to like, hey, man, sometimes you'll touch something hot. You still have a couple of seconds before the pain actually sets in. They're saying
but there's a reaction to this. Your eyes are still they're still reacting in a normal way. If your body fell on the other side, the eyes would go the other way and look down at your body.
Right.
So it's still a natural reaction. It's not like, well, they just do that.
You just got to think, man, like the last thought in your head is like, damn!
That's only the top. That's only we're just skimming the surface on some of the things your body can do after you pass on. So
Well,
that's just
boy,
a few.
oh boy.
Yeah, good times ahead.
Yeah. Hello, John. Welcome to the men's room. Hello, John.
Hola.
All right, let's get this started right. Okay, John. Let's see here. Have you traveled around this great country, world of ours at all, John?
Well, I took a road trip to Minnesota and one to San Diego. So
okay,
kinda.
All right. Let's go with this one because I think no matter where you are, where you've been, it's relative.
Where you be?
What heat, John, will you always remember? I've got a couple of them. One of them is a fire. There was a house fire when I was in junior high, middle school, and I'll remember the heat just because I could not believe how close you could not get based on the house fire. And I think the other one was probably my wedding day. It was so hot.
That was ridiculous.
And we were all in suits, and that made it worse. The pictures were outside. That made it worse. It was so
Why
muggy.
don't you guys smile?
It was so
because
hot.
it's effing hot and we're wearing black, man.
I mean, you could not have picked and I lived in Baltimore for 10 years. Steve, I know you lived there longer. It's not that it doesn't get hot.
No, it's a record. That was a record-breaking day.
That day was
it broke a record.
It was thick, man. I mean, like there was no wind, there was no breeze, and then a thunder shower came in, and it made it hotter and muggier.
Yeah, it just made it more humid.
Right. So what would you say is the heat that you'll always remember?
Well, I tell you what, that trip that I went down to San Diego, I was with my dad. It was for my 21st birthday, and we decided we were going to go see the Grand Canyon. My birthday's July 4th. We were in an 86 Honda Accord with no AC. It was about 120 cruising to the Grand Canyon, and the smell of my father inside that car was unbearable.
Oh, no.
You're saying your father.
Is it like armpit? Is it ass? Is it both?
It's armpit mixed with onions, and I don't know where that smell was coming from, but it was bad.
Wait. So when your father got really sweaty, what did he always have an oniony smell when he got really hot and sweaty?
Absolutely.
Huh.
The funny thing is, anybody listening that knows my father, they've smelt it.
So he's got a very unique odor about him.
Absolutely.
Does he eat a lot of onions? I mean, what?
What was that?
Does he eat a lot of onions?
Oh, I don't think so.
He's just saying he smells like an onion. So who have you brought this? Does he know? Like, has someone said, what's your dad's name?
Tim,
you smell like an onion. I mean, does he know this? Like, if he's picking up, you know what I mean, doing some yard work, whatever, you better get that onion smell off of you before you come to the dinner table. I mean, does he know?
The best part is he does know, but he embraces it.
Oh, he loves it.
Yeah, he's told me stories of women that like the smell of his armpit. So,
well, all right.
What did these women look like, and how much did he pay them?
I don't know, man.
Listen, if there's any women listening that love the smell of a man whose armpits smell roughly like onions, please let us know.
I was going to say,
please let us know.
That would be the one reason.
That's not something you put on a dating profile. No one even says they're actively looking for that. Looking for a really stinky guy.
Pheromones are a big thing, man. If you're attracted to someone's smell, you're attracted to their smell.
Yeah, I know
certain
that,
people are
man.
attracted to just other people's smell.
Oniony armpits?
I don't know that I've actually been attracted to someone's smell as much as I have been, like, taken aback by someone's smell.
Well, I think it's much easier. Yeah. But there's a way it works, too. Like, you might be attracted to someone. You get lucky, you hook up, you date, whatever the case may be. They probably have a smell, and that smell will bring you some comfort. Mm-hmm. But that's not, I don't think that's necessarily what got him. But I'd like to think, whatever pheromones it is that attracts me, I hope it's not something where everyone else goes, dude, you realize you like women that smell like blueberry Jello, or whatever the hell it is.
Sometimes I don't think you even notice it till maybe you break up with them. And then, like, you smell another woman who and it's like, oh, man, that smells like, what's her name?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you're listening other parts of the country, you have air conditioning. And you always have had air conditioning. And air conditioning is one of those things like a refrigerator or a washer and dryer that, people have. Here we are in Seattle, and it's not the Pacific Northwest exactly, but it's definitely Seattle. Portland has air conditioning. Vancouver in Canada has air conditioning. Victoria, British Columbia has air conditioning. We don't have air conditioning. And when it gets really, really hot,
That's why they charge so much for houses.
our homes don't cool down
Ever.
and our bedrooms are like, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I'm on the top floor of a 2-floor place, so my roof is right above me. It is I mean, you get 85, 90 degrees, and I cannot get the heat out of my bedroom. It is absolutely.
Well, what is everyone
unbelievable.
like from Phoenix? You don't know what heat is. Heat is 117 degrees. I'm like, no, I understand that. Here's the difference. But you stay inside. You don't go anywhere. You're not outside working in your yard. And the difference is when I go to bed at night, my bedroom is 103 degrees.
Now, here's
You're
what
sleeping
here's
at
what
70
also is
degrees.
fun.
I mean, I agree with you, but I got to say that's very Seattle of you.
What's that?
2 weeks ago, you were like, it's too dark. It's too dark. I want it to be sunny and
now
warm.
I can't sleep. Now I can't sleep. It's honest to God truth.
We got
Not only
2
that,
weeks of it.
but you can't go swimming either because the water is frigid. It's glacier water. So where else you can go, like swimming in a pool or a lake or whatever? We can't even do that. You can't even cool off because you freeze to death.
Right.
Too crazy extreme.
Die hypothermia, 90 degrees.
Yeah, you really are. Where's the hottest? What's the hottest? The most heat you've been around, Ted?
Probably Knoxville, Tennessee, Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
When we went to a football game there, it was so gross and so hot. I'll give you 2 examples. It was so gross and so hot, my buddy Bernie wouldn't even drink beer.
Damn.
And if you know my buddy Bernie,
Wow.
you
That's
know
ridiculous.
that guy put down a case of Michelob Ultras. He wouldn't even drink a beer for like the first few hours. And then we paid somebody $45 for a case of water.
Oh my God! Well, I'll tell you what.
Yes, it was that hot at the tailgate.
Tennessee, they have that. They have a 3-day music. Is it Bonnaroo? I'm not sure of the festival, but it's
Bonnaroo's down there.
notoriously like 110 degrees for 3 days, which is something.
Because that was humid too. Like I've been to Burning Man in the
That's the
desert, which
difference,
was
man.
gross and hot, but not like
with the humidity.
Humidity's
Not like the
oppressive.
humidity,
Man,
yeah.
I didn't realize this. Like, if you go to Mexico, right, and you rent a house. I always go around the holidays, and $2,000 for a week or something. So a couple of years ago, I do go down with Castle, and $450 for a week. Like, I don't understand it. It was August, man, and I mean, we got off the plane, and I'm like, we effed up. Like, we effed up. It's 110 degrees all the time, and it's like 98% humidity to the point, and I'm trying to stay. This is a beach town, and these are Mexicans that live in Mexico, and they did not go outside. They looked it up. Seriously, they were like, you were so, and we realized like half the city shut down. They're like, no, it's hot, dummy.
So the reason we asked what heat will you always remember, you might not know this, but we are right now in the middle of a global heat wave. And high temperature records are being set all over the world.
yeah. Like, have you watched it in the World Cup? It seems odd that it's been that hot in Russia.
It is so hot that it's gotten up to over 90 degrees in not just Russia, Siberia. Siberia.
That's not good.
Do we know anything about Siberia? Do we know Russian geography? Do we know where Siberia is located? Because I sure do.
Yeah.
It's, that's double the temperature. That is double the normal temperature at this time of year. So Siberia should be 45 degrees, which is balmy as hell for them.
For Siberia, sure.
And now it's 90. It is so hot that a road melted in Newcastle, England. Have you ever had a delicious Newcastle before, that beverage? Is that from Newcastle, England?
The Nut Brown Ale?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's got to be.
I don't know.
Because the first place I ever saw it was the English pub.
Well, now
By the way, I like Newcastle. That's a good beer.
It is a good beer. I think that was kind of the first red I've ever had. Road melted there, and a guy's foot sank in, and he got stuck. So the fire department had to use a hammer and a chisel to get him out, and they accompanied a picture there. Yeah, they hammered him out. It's so hot, believe it or not, that it's slowing down the financial market, stock trading. The humidity is affecting radio transmissions to data centers in New Jersey, which is adding about 8 microseconds to every stock trade. And that can actually make a huge difference in who makes money and who loses money just based on the heat. The transmissions to the data centers aren't moving correctly. It's so hot that
How
fields
hot is it?
in the country of Wales are drying up and revealing evidence of ancient civilizations underneath them.
That they had no idea were there.
This is all from the heat. And finally, it's so hot
How hot is it?
that someone in Quebec rigged tubes from their car into their apartment to pump in more air conditioning, and someone else then took a picture.
Damn.
So they basically didn't have air conditioning. They tubed it out through the car, pumped it in their house.
Guy here says, when I was in Iraq, it hit, any guesses? It's a couple of days in a row.
I'll say, what do you think the world record is?
I'll say 127.
I was going to say 124 for the hottest day in ever.
The world record was recorded in Death Valley in 1913, and it was 134 degrees.
You know that for a fact.
I know that for a fact. I don't know why I read that earlier today. I probably read it earlier today because all this heat wave stuff. That's why I sounded so confident. I literally read this.
Wow, hours. Unbelievable.
But this guy, when I was in Iraq, it hit 132 a couple of days in a row.
Now,
couple of days in a row.
Okay, but here's my question: like what Ted said, or Arizona, or does that include humidity? In other words, is it dry heat? Is it that damp, sticky, thick air? Like what kind of heat is it when it gets that hot?
I would guess.
I would guess dry and arid based on
it's the
Phoenix.
desert, so I can't imagine it would be super humid.
But it's 132. It doesn't matter.
I agree. Like at that heat.
Because even when they give you the heat index, it's not 132.
But it's
when I say I preferred the heat at Burning Man to Tennessee, I mean they both were freaking miserable.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's like, do you want to be shot with a gun or stabbed?
Would 108 with humidity be the same as 120?
It's usually like 120, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it feels like it. It's not actually that.
Random question, 844-999. Ola, more of your calls coming up. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Ola Bichola, you have entered the men's room.
Coming up on the big show, your guess is as good as mine. Our categories, death and basketball. Yes, basketball. That is coming up with your guess is as good as mine. Right after our random question, 844-999. Ola.
It's the opposite of love and basketball.
It really is.
Hello, Matthew. Welcome to the men's room.
Random.
Hola.
How are you guys today?
We're good.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm marinating some meat.
Excellent.
Was that a sexual euphemism, or are you actually preparing dinner?
You have a special marinade?
No, I'm getting ready for barbecue. No, I went store-bought.
What brand?
I don't even know. Some kind of off-brand steak and chop 30-minute marinade.
Nothing wrong with that.
$8.99 stuff.
Yeah. I love a good marinade. All right, let's go with this one. What would you say you are responsible for? It could be all kinds of things. You might be responsible for the fact that, I don't know, your brother's not married anymore. Or you could be responsible for a young child.
You could also be responsible for, like, the dumb warnings on products we buy.
Mm-hmm. There's
My mother's insanity.
You're responsible for your mother's insanity? Are you sure about that?
Well, I probably contributed, not responsible. So
is she legitimately insane?
Mom, yeah.
Like, legitimately, certifiably, she is actually insane.
No, okay. No, it's not documented.
What is the first? Okay, let's step through this if we could. Now we're sitting down. What was the first incident where you think you put her mentally in a bad position? So what happened with you that caused her grief?
Oh, well, beyond being born, probably. I mean, your typical stuff in school. So probably once I left home and started doing the kind of work that I was doing in lifestyle.
What kind of work in lifestyle were you doing that after you move out, your mother would lose her mind?
I was logging in Southeast Alaska.
Okay.
And living the lifestyle of a 70s, 80s rough and tumble lifestyle tramp logger.
What was the drug of choice back then?
Cocaine in the 80s.
All right, okay. And what was the downer? Did they still have Quaaludes or any of that stuff?
These Black Betties and stuff were just kind of washing out in the late 70s, early 80s there. And the cross tops and speed, people were getting away from that, But, a lot of the old timers I worked with would talk about it and stuff.
So you could get pills, like in the early 70s. You could get a pill to go down, you could get a pill to go
then,
up.
But I'm sure you could.
That's kind of weird, right?
It's not weird, man.
It's weird that that went away. You would think that if that was something that you could...
No, but has it gone away? It's just different pills now, right?
Well, now,
it's just
but there
controlled by a different group.
During the 80s, people were they could just do cocaine. And cocaine didn't have that stigma, so instead of doing drugs...
it was still illegal.
Right.
Yeah.
And look, man, there's still uppers and downers. I mean, you can pop it. It's big pharma doing it now instead of, the guy you call the alchemist who lives in the tent on your buddy's property.
And I don't know that cocaine ever really lost that.
It didn't.
Like, poor people do meth and crack, and it's, still glamorous to do powdered cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, they cut cocaine down and came up with some other products, man. But, I mean, Coke still... Look,
I'm just saying,
all those other things you mentioned have gone away. Like Quaaludes, Black Betty, they're harder to find. Coke's still around. Like
speed.
Coke and weed and heroin. Those are like the three that are like, look, man...
We're hanging on.
You just won't give us up. Never going to give you up. Never going to.
What are you responsible for? A lot can happen when a rapper reps your hometown, especially when it depends on who the rapper is. And essentially, when the rapper is Drake, that's a good thing.
Maybe.
According to a new report from Vice News, Drake is responsible for about 5% of Toronto's $8.8 billion annual tourism revenue, which amounts to about $440 million. A branding expert says, quote, he's helped to rebrand the city. He's kind of made himself the same as Toronto. There's a politician named Michael Thompson. He even used a Drake song to bring a $147 million tech conference to the city for the next 3 years. He says, quote, when I mentioned this was the home of Drake, the people just kind of went crazy, just the mere mention of his name. Native Son is here. He's got a brand. He's got a great brand, and we're going to kind of hitch ourselves on it for a little bit and get pulled up along the way.
Look, man.
Drake is responsible for $440 million of tourism
It doesn't
in Toronto.
shock me.
It doesn't shock me. I don't know a ton about Drake. I know who he is. I'm aware and all that. And I don't care about the guy one way or another, but it always makes me smile because remember, like Temple University was like, yo, man, people think of Bill Cosby. You think of Temple University.
but
then
who
it's
else?
like, hey, yeah, I tell you
else?
what, man, we're going to go ahead and drop that Bill Cosby. And look, Drake, so far, man, dude
right.
seems on the level, but I just feel like when you, to me, that's the equivalent of getting the tattoo of someone's name
when you
on
think-
your body,
when you-
but not in memoriam, and it is not a child.
But when you're famous, depending on how you rep that hometown,
Yeah.
it's different. So, okay, LeBron.
You got to embrace them while you have them.
What is LeBron?
Why you got him? Yeah.
Do you think LeBron
But
is responsible for tourism in Cleveland?
if Cleveland
Sure.
has
I
tourism,
would guess so.
100%.
It certainly won the Browns.
No, it's not. It's not the Indians either. I mean,
Right.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. None of that.
But Justin Timberlake isn't helping Memphis.
But
So
he
it
doesn't
depends-
rep
he doesn't-
Memphis.
yeah, that's a good point.
He's Timberlake. I like Timberlake, but he makes a lot of pop songs. These guys rep the city.
And Memphis doesn't need them.
And it helps.
If you say Memphis, no one goes, "Pfft, I don't know about the music scene there. It's like,
Yeah.
it's Memphis.
When I did door-to-door sales, we had an option, Manhattan or Queens. I love Biggie, or I love Nas, so I was like, Queens.
Right, exactly.
Did you do well there?
Negative. I don't think I sold a thing.
More of the random question coming up. 844-999-OLA.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.